Welcome back to Cape Critiquers, everybody. Today we are talking about Sam Raimi's Darkman from 1990.
Yeah.
The precursor to Spider-Man 1.
It's true.
You guys like it?
I liked it. It was, I don't know, maybe it's the time, 1990. Yeah. I don't know. Definitely, the CGI wasn't great, but what else are you going to expect from them? It wasn't horrible, but it was not great. There was definitely times you knew. It almost looked like they were floating in air because of it behind them.
Like the green screens especially,
Yeah.
I feel like that was just somehow especially bad.
It was
like I don't know
terrible.
how either. Because I feel like by that time, that's not even the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
And even just, there's stuff where like they do the part where Julie, it dissolves to her at the grave.
I'll say this about that scene.
Oh, that was...
Like I don't
It's
understand why that was even green
It's a
screen.
great shot
Yeah.
in theory, and it was executed terribly.
Because
Yeah.
it doesn't need to be green
Remember
screen.
you saying that
It didn't
when-
need to be
when-
green screen.
In the beginning of the movie where she was standing there looking at the building, then all of a sudden
Yeah.
she's like in the cemetery and in that progression
Oh
to the
my
cemetery.
god, it was such
That
a
was weird.
fucking
He's like-
terrible.
We're like
terrible
10 minutes in the
scene.
movie. That fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's literally we're watching and I'm like, wow, that's really fucking bad.
It could have
Yeah.
so easily been done without green
It's
screen.
also
I feel
like even weirder because there's an incredible match cut that happens later in the movie with Durant, where it's like Liam Neeson pretending to be him at the
Right.
Yeah.
the store, and then it's a perfect match cut to Durant like doing something else. So I don't know. I should have just done that shot again.
I thought the movie had great potential. I'm not saying it was a horrible movie. It was not one of my favorites, but from where it came from, so maybe I'm thinking from today's mind and thinking back then, it was okay. There was definitely bad CGI throughout the movie that sort of took it away from me. I thought the story was a good story. I don't think Liam Neeson was on his game in this movie.
Neither was Frances
And
McDormand.
she's actually one of my favorite
I know.
actresses.
I love her, too, as an actress.
But I guess that just working on this, I mean, this was in the early parts of their careers. Maybe working on this, they were like, we took this job. But I think it could have been so much more. I liked a lot of this movie, though. A lot of the stuff in the background, the characters, everything else. Just something didn't congeal for me in this whole story.
I disagree.
See,
You
I
like
thought
it?
I thought this was.
and I know I'm
going
going to take heat for this because I know people loved this movie. Still, some people say this is one of Raimi's best.
I'd even go as far to say as I think Liam Neeson was like actually really good as Darkman, and like is maybe the driving factor of the movie for me.
I think I'm gonna have to give a lot of props to the makeup department because
Prac-
they did a fucking awesome
Oh,
job.
they-
with it.
Practical
no
effects
doubt.
were
Yeah.
definitely won
Yeah.
over the special
He
effects.
looks great.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a Raimi production
Yeah.
through and through for
Yeah.
sure.
And I'll give Liam his dues on acting. He actually did make me feel like that he was the dark man, especially with "they took my hands."
Yeah, but then
It's,
see some of that rambling and it was almost like Popeye talking to himself to me in the old days. You know, he just talking to himself like that, rambling, just
I feel like
gibberish.
they just didn't even play it that well though, like the insanity.
And that's what it was. It was insanity or insanity setting in.
Yeah,
But you know, it was just bizarre to me. You know,
it's an original concept by Sam Raimi too.
Yeah.
Which is I thought was maybe the most interesting part. I think it technically ended up like under the Marvel like comics.
Well, I think they like licensed
Yeah,
it
like
type thing.
something like
Just
that.
a
Yeah.
tie-in,
for
so.
some majority of time. I don't know if it still is like under their control.
Well, I know that he like teamed up with Evil Dead.
Yeah, he teamed
So.
up with Ash at some
Yeah.
point.
now he was in the movie. The guy
Bruce
who
Campbell,
plays-
yeah.
yeah, he
well,
was in
the
it.
the final shot of the movie,
Yeah.
the face that he puts on, it's Bruce Campbell.
It's Bruce Campbell. Yeah.
Also, I'd seen Bruce Campbell did like a bunch of like ADR for this movie too, just like random like shouting and
Yeah.
yelling and stuff.
I feel like all the rage outbursts were like fun, but like it just didn't make sense at all for me.
Why didn't it make sense?
Because I feel like it just didn't even play into like that he can't feel pain and like he just doesn't have this like source of anything anymore.
I
It's a
I
source of
thought it
feeling.
was like because of everything that had happened, he also just became this rage machine where like he couldn't even control his emotions because they had mentioned like emotions would be heightened. So
I do like a thing where like his biggest weakness is also the source of his greatest strength because that's when he gets the most power, I guess.
yeah, like being called a freak.
Yeah,
A freak, everybody, a freak, a freak, everybody, a freak.
Circus clown.
Who's the monster now?
Yeah.
But just like that one scene where the carnival scene ends,
oh, I fucking
Oh
and it just
my
like he says it like 30 times.
Yeah.
A freak, everybody.
the fucking scene. You're talking about the scene with the elephant.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
that's my favorite.
He fucking basically melts the guy's fingers, bends him so insanely, and then like the pan shot that they do between the three of them, fucking screaming, is incredible.
Just take the fucking elephant.
take the
fucking elephant.
They have like the actual like there's like elephant noises going on. I don't know if you noticed in the back, like when everything's going crazy.
It was
there's-
almost like circus sounds or something. I don't know
But
what was going on.
There's like a dissolve going on where it's not even full opacity, but it's like Liam Neeson's head on like a fucking puppet going on. It's just so insane. And there's like 10 different layered, like insane things happening at once. I thought it was hilarious.
I thought his accent was also very just weird.
Pretty not great because he's trying to not be Irish
Yes.
the whole movie.
What was the whole premise why they killed him and burned the lab and all that? For that piece of paper just for...
I guess they had assumed that they had knowledge about like what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And
But I don't know why they would go to him. Like, how do they know that he had it?
yeah, I don't know how they would know that. Or no, because Durant was working with the girlfriend's
Julie.
boss
Julie.
guy.
The developer or
But-
whatever the fuck he was.
Because he was the real villain.
Right.
But
Yes.
she never revealed that he had it, I don't think. She just said, I don't have it with me.
Well, I just guess he assumed that it was in their possession. But
I
it
guess.
doesn't make sense how he would know it's at the lab, yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
There was a lot of things that were weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't love the movie. I thought the practical effects were good. Kind of kept my interest, so it wasn't total flop. But there was like little things like I kept saying, where does he get all the old fucking bandages?
Yeah.
I mean, he's always in old bandages, even though he put a new face on. He
And then he built the lab,
out of 2 pieces of fucking
and then
machine.
everything else is there, and
So
he's
quick.
3D'ing faces.
Yeah, right.
So quick.
I will actually
Yeah.
think this movie probably takes place over like months or even
It does,
like
but
a year.
I did not have that feel in this movie. That's
This is
the
exactly
problem.
what happened with Zorro. It's
Yeah.
like
But
that.
to me, this movie
But Zorro was
parallels
really,
a
really
lot.
good.
Zorro was really good.
Yeah.
I'm
But
not
this
comparing.
movie to me parallels a lot of what happened in The Crow.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
The Crow just pulled it off so much better, I think. But he's the living dead in The Crow, so I mean that's the difference here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
There was
I
also
don't know.
something where like so many exposition dumps. Just like
mhm.
there was like a 2-minute scene or like 3-minute scene where they were explaining how he has his powers now, and they did this operation that
Yeah.
cuts off his nervous system. It's just so much shit.
Reminded me of Spider-Man 2, Doc Ock in
Doc Ock, yep.
the hospital scene.
But he was just in rage all the time, Doc
Yeah.
Ock.
I feel like though, like all the exposition in Raimi movies happens, and like even some of like the plot points happen because he's such a fan of like these like 50s and 60s comics.
I mean, I can't think of exposition in like Spider-Man movies.
Well,
Yeah.
not in Spider-Man movies. I'm just saying like more to plot points for Spider-Man movies. Like, oh, Mary Jane's like trapped up on like a high rise again. It's like such like a basic like 60s
Yeah.
comic thing.
Yeah, but I'm just saying like it just gets a little weird when like you're getting explained why something's happening for like a minute at a time.
I mean, that's exactly what 60s comics are like, though.
Yeah.
I guess.
Fucking just a constant like Wolverine has adamantium every fucking page.
Still,
There,
it's just
there
weird.
was quite a few scenes where it was just overkill, like especially toward the end, where he's getting shot at by everybody,
And
including
nothing
the
hits.
fucking.
Yeah.
That,
The-
oh
the
my
bolt
God!
gun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that
Whatever
thing.
it-
Yeah. Could not hit anything with it.
Every
I'm saying to
feet away
myself,
from
boy,
just shooting straight up.
holy crap! Yeah, exactly. What the hell were they shooting at? Because the guy's running across the fucking roof.
Shoot in front of him, not the roof. at him.
Whatever.
Something.
You got that freaking grenade launcher. You got what? Okay.
That haircut that Durant had.
Ugh.
He goes on to be the next Darkman, isn't he?
No, he's
The sequel is called Darkman 2: The Return of
yeah.
Durant.
He
Durant.
somehow
Right.
survives, although he
Right.
fucking crashed in a helicopter. and
Yeah.
died.
In that tunnel.
Sam Raimi did not come back to direct.
Yeah.
Liam Neeson did not
not
come back
come-
to reprise his role.
Well, I feel like it's
guess
funny
so.
because Liam Neeson doesn't need to.
Yeah, he doesn't need to.
It's just a fucking
They made
burned face.
2 more of these.
Yeah.
That one, and then I think one
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, probably just gives fucking money to Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
How do you think he funded Spider-Man? No.
yeah.
Fuck the Darkman sequel.
All of those scenes, though, all those action scenes, were just riddled with like cheesy comedy, and so that stuff to me was fun. As much as I thought it was fun, it sort of took away from a little bit of the story for me as well.
Yeah.
A little
I loved
quirky.
the,
Some of them hit, some didn't.
The helicopter scene.
I thought that was great. I
Yeah.
thought that was really good.
I thought that was hilarious. And just kind of like well done too. Like I especially love to see when he crashes into the office building. And he's like, excuse me.
Yeah, and out again he goes.
Yeah, there was just a little annoyance about power level and ability too, because if most of the movie you're kicking people's asses, picking them up and throwing them across a room, and then at the end of the movie you're getting your ass kicked by a guy that really doesn't have any
Yeah.
powers, then
What did you think of Durant as a villain?
He's
Brutal.
kind of just weird. And he's like also not really the villain. Weak villain for sure in this movie.
His thing of collecting fingers.
That was weird, yeah.
That was just
and it's
weird
like
to
never
me.
really touched on.
no.
But then you
Also-
saw a box of them.
What was the whole thing with Sam Raimi's brother, Ted Raimi in this movie's character, and like he just kept mentioning like, I know he likes Rick, but like, and then he was like, he met him at that like place too.
Yeah. And then, that was just weird. That was almost something you want a
They were
martini?
like, yeah, they were like,
Yeah,
almost
what
like
the hell? They're on a
lovers.
date.
Yeah,
So that was like, are they on a date?
that's what I thought too. And,
Yeah.
and then like his head just gets squashed by like a truck.
Yeah.
And that's it. But
I didn't
he had him
understand
kill
that
the guy too. And
Yeah.
then, and then like he was like, I'm proud of you, man.
One
That is,
martini?
I did not pick up on that at
You
all.
didn't pick
I
up on
just
that?
thought it was really strange.
Durant, who's supposed to be the boss, is going up to go buy a martini.
Yeah.
Instead of, hey, go get me a martini.
Yeah.
You didn't get that whole thing.
I feel like the collecting fingers part is where it was spoiled, because I did like just how he used the cigars and everything as like a thing.
Yeah.
Even when Peyton took him over and was doing the whole, you have until the cigar is finished.
Yes. And then he cuts it in
I
half.
thought that was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good scene.
And then like
But
burning his hand and
That
stuff.
annoyed
Yeah.
me even more because initially those three big guys with the fucking guns were there to intimidate him. And I'm saying to myself, okay, and then he just decides to do that. Yeah, you have until I finish this cigar. And I'm saying to myself, why don't the three big guys just fucking pop him?
Yeah.
You know, how hard is that?
Yeah.
It's just the kind of movie that it is.
Also, the fucking briefcase thing.
With the money.
They do it right in front of a window where everybody outside can see him
Exactly.
sliding.
Yeah.
And I thought that part was really fucking funny. When after he gets thrown out the window and he hits the car, and that woman's screaming, ah, ah, and then she turns around and it's him sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
It's like, ah!
Even like almost tie back to what we were talking about. Like it seemed like he was mad because like he was taking Rick to Brazil, or like that he got framed like he was taking Rick to Brazil. And he's like, have a nice flight.
That's my boyfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah, they even mentioned it, right? Because we know he likes Rick.
Yeah. Have a nice flight. Just throws him out the window.
Yeah, exactly. He tucks the plane tickets in his pocket,
Yeah.
have a nice flight, and tosses them out the window. That CGI actually wasn't that bad of the out the window, though.
I mean, sure,
You
it's
know?
practical. Probably just use like a.
They fucking
Made
nailed
the
him.
wire, yeah.
They fucking actually do that kind
Yeah,
of
they
thing.
threw him out and made him land on a car.
I like that hologram startup effect. Just wanted to point that out.
Mhm.
Just actually worked pretty well. I'd say.
The hologram itself, or like the one on the screen.
Just when it started up, just like
yeah.
that weird effect.
Yeah, there's like a lot of CGI type of things and like stuff that like shows up on the screen that remind me of like Oscorp and Spider-Man.
Yeah. I just feel like this is the type of movie where like you'd want to rewatch it just to notice like campy details.
Speaking of like campy little details, I had seen the Coen Brothers. I think did like a rewrite of the script for this movie.
Really?
Yeah, because I mean they're friends with Sam Raimi.
John Landis played the doctor in this movie.
Did he really?
I think they have him listed as
I think
on the
you
cast.
might be right. Another funny thing that I saw is like apparently in the director's commentary, how, like Sam Raimi always puts like his car into the movies. That one car.
Yeah.
The Oldsmobile. There's the scene with the helicopter where he's about to hit the car. That's the car, and apparently the Coen Brothers are driving it.
Oh, that's
really?
hilarious.
Yeah.
I love shit like that. I know that people love this movie. People talk about this movie like it's the gateway to what became MCU stuff, especially the Spider-Man
I mean,
trilogy.
like, I guess technically, and I don't think this is like a perfect movie by
No.
any means. But like, I see the vision, I guess, especially having grown up with those Spider-Man movies. This like very much is the precursor for that.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's even like executed all that poorly. I think it's like actually kind of good.
If I watched it in the early 90s, it probably would have been a different impact on me. Like now, look at Logan's Run. Back in the day, that was the stuff, man. That was a great movie. But today, yeah, you look at it, it's like, I don't know.
feel like
it's a little bit tough. It's like
the
watching
thing
the
is
Fonz
that
today.
this is also
you know?
being compared to like Batman 1989.
Yeah.
So
Danny Elfman did the score on both, right?
yeah. Speaking of that score,
Yeah.
what about that fucking like crazy intro sequence?
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
Every score he did after Batman just sounds like the Batman score.
Yeah. It's just weird though, like that intro sequence I feel like it wasn't even needed. It's just such like a random 90s thing.
The initial scene, when, like you said, in the lab when they're doing whatever the hell they wanted to do, it bordered on being so campy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when it took 6 of them to pick them up and put them in the vat, or it's
Well,
like,
that's Sam Raimi.
I
Sam
know,
Raimi
I
is the
know.
master of camp.
Yep.
I know it
You
was just, it seemed like super campy.
But he used a lot of that style, even going through those Spider-Man trilogies.
I think Jack put it the best. It's the type of thing where it's like stylistically, you're either gonna like it or you don't.
Right. Maybe it was caught. I mean, all the way they dressed and everything else. Maybe I just got caught in that timeline, and that's what threw me off a little bit as well. Just the I didn't like that fashion when I lived through it.
Yeah,
You know?
that beginning scene, it was actually, I was kind of waiting for them to tilt the camera
Uh-huh.
so that everyone was running one.
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
they would
yeah,
tilt
yeah.
the camera the other way. It was just, I don't know, it was just off.
Like the thing with me here is like, would I rather watch this or would I rather watch like an MCU movie of like the same, I guess, like I don't want to
Plot
say
level.
rating, but of like, I guess maybe
Like I feel like I'd probably actually rewatch this before Deadpool and Wolverine.
Wow.
Like I just feel like
probably agree.
there's more stylistically in this.
Yeah, I mean, this movie is significantly more stylish than Deadpool and Wolverine. Do I think it's better than Deadpool and Wolverine? Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
But like,
Understood.
I feel like once you get familiar with
Yeah.
both, there's more.
I think this one overall is probably more entertaining.
I don't know.
I don't know about entertaining.
I was about to say, you guys losing your fucking minds?
It was okay.
I'm gonna rate it probably lower than I did for Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah,
but
it was okay.
I just think in
I-
rewatchability,
yeah,
at least for rewatchability, I'd say it's a little like a lot higher than Deadpool and Wolverine for me.
I
I'd
didn't
watch
see the
this
sty-
before I watched the 3 MCU Spider-Man movies again.
No.
That's where you
This,
lose
this
me.
is not,
Yeah, I don't know.
This is not on my radar for nearly anywhere
I'm a
close to
Maguire
any of
fan
that.
when it comes to
I would
Spider-Man.
probably
I would
rather
watch
watch
that.
Dick Tracy
Well, I'm saying the MCU.
before I watched
MCU? Oh, okay.
this again.
Yeah.
I mean, there's elements of Dick Tracy stuff in this.
Oh,
yeah,
it
I
definitely
know.
is. Yeah.
To me,
Definitely.
like the way you said, stylized. Dick Tracy was every friggin' thing was stylized.
I
but-
could see this movie getting old for me, but like I did just like all the campy elements. I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was definitely campy. There's no
There's-
doubt. Every scene.
For me, there's just stuff going on in this movie that's adventurous enough where, like, I feel like I could rewatch it again and not be
Yeah.
able to predict it scene by scene.
That opening
fair.
action scene, was he Mr. Black? Who was the guy that they first took over? And
Oh yeah, so like Eddie Black. or
Eddie
something?
Black, right? Mr. Black. Yeah. That was like that whole thing was campy. Wooden leg, the
Yeah.
whole
And
bit.
then it turns out to be.
And then it turned out to be
yeah.
the gun, the whole bit. Mr. Smiley.
And then the
yeah.
guy
Mr.
gives him his
Smiley.
arm to
Smiley.
steady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I love that scene. That's actually my favorite part of the whole movie. Is that scene.
Yeah, I'd say it had a really strong intro
Yeah.
as well.
I don't know what my favorite scene would be, honestly.
Yeah. Well,
feel
that's,
like-
that's mine.
I'd probably say the helicopter sequence.
That was pretty good too.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like my enjoyment of the camp is just like kind of equal throughout.
Mm-hmm. Either the helicopter sequence or the carnival elephant sequence for me.
Yeah, the carnival elephant thing is pretty good, I guess.
So this
That's my
this
favorite.
movie was well received when it came out.
I don't think it was that
No?
great really received, honestly.
It's definitely a cult following. There's no doubt.
I mean, yeah,
I'm
that's
sure
just a
anything
Raimi
he
thing, yeah.
does.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'll put my least favorite scene is just before that elephant scene, where it's just them talking, and I don't know, just their relationship was kind of shit in this.
It's also
Yes.
just really weird.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
like
Was it a
they're-
chemistry between them or?
They're not married, and then
Yeah.
like she seems like semi-standoffish about getting married.
Mm-hmm. And then she's was comforted by a friend, but nothing happened.
I mean, nothing did.
No.
He
Oh,
as far
kind
as
of,
we
kind of
saw.
just threatened her, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we also apparently saw 2 gay lovers in this game.
Yeah.
so.
I don't know.
We don't
I'm
know
not-
what could
I'm not
happen.
saying anything. I'm just saying the relationship between Ted Raimi and Durant in this movie.
Yeah.
They clearly pointed it out like 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Are you afraid to be woke?
Yeah, I'm so afraid of the woke mind virus entering my
I
Sam
mean, I
Raimi
just feel
movie.
like this movie probably does take place over like a year. That's what
I
got
kind of
from
had
it.
that idea too, but
maybe like 8
not. I
months.
didn't feel it though.
Yeah.
That's the
I
thing.
don't know, because to me it's just like he did so much fucking research. Like that one rendering thing he had to do alone was like fucking like 500 hours or
Yeah,
something.
500
Yeah.
something hours.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, revenge is a bitch. One of my least favorite scenes is when she finds out the developer is really the the bad guy, you know.
Strikers.
But if you're not going to kill me, I have things to do.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
like,
Yeah,
what?
that
Are you
was-
kidding me? You're just going to let her walk out of the street knowing that she has a relationship with
Yeah.
the guy who wants to ultimately kill you?
It's
And-
almost like the whole thing where it's like the villain monologue,
Mhm.
but just like brought to the like most extreme, where like he's just fucking willing to
My
let her
father.
leave even.
Yeah. My father always had me walk on high steel.
Yeah.
You know, those things just threw me.
That was.
My least favorite scene would be the rooftop scene with the helicopter. Unless his superpower is giving everyone bad aim.
Oh my God, it's
I
true.
just,
Exactly.
you know, that was a little bit too much for me.
I was actually thinking something. There's 2 Sam Raimi movies at least that I can think of where it ends like the final showdown is at like an unfinished building very high up.
Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm telling you, dude, Sam Raimi just loves like 60s comic strips.
Yep.
It's the most basic. The screaming girls, high rises, and silly stories.
Well, it's just like, oh, he can have all this fucking space to do whatever he wants because it's an abandoned building. That doesn't apply to this, but
Yeah.
well, it does actually because of fucking.
Yeah, but nobody notices that the power's on and there's all kinds of noises coming out of this building and this guy's rambling to himself over and over again. And
Yeah, no one noticed that this fucking zombies just doing science over here.
exactly.
Well, I don't know. I feel like I've seen enough just urban exploration videos where it's just like lights will just be on in this fucking abandoned place.
Flashes and everything else. Don't
Well,
look at me, I'm
I guess
horrible.
the point where it's weird is that there was like smoke coming out of the building.
Mm-hmm.
And it was up high. It wasn't even like he was down low. He was up on the highest point of the
Fucking
building.
running through
Yeah.
Yeah.
like catwalks, I guess.
Yeah.
And then 900 cars show up and shoot the shit out of it. And then it gets fucking blown up.
I love though the trope is like it's all the Mafia Lincolns pull up the whole bit.
Oh,
It's like,
yeah,
you know,
of course.
yeah.
Yeah.
All the boys run out with all the Tommy
Tricking
guns
them
and
into
everything
shooting
else.
each other.
30 pounds of gold around their neck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did like the put on not one mask but 2.
Yeah.
On
Oh,
2
that was a good.
Yeah.
Fucking like actually Scooby Doo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys want to slap a rating onto it?
Put a 6 on it.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
gonna
at a
go
6.
7 out of 10.
Wow. I'm 6.
I'm
5.
definitely
I'm
leaning
gonna give
I'm
towards
it
gonna
a
go
5.
5. Yeah.
I can get through it,
Yeah.
but like you said,
I gave it a 6 because I think some of what I got lost in is that it did not age well for me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to
So,
revisit it
yeah.
anytime soon.
5.
Yeah, I
5.
mean, I think you guys fairly rated it. I just think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And would I get sucked into some of it again? Oh, I go with movies. Like I get sucked into a scene, and that may happen.
Have you ever seen this playing on TV?
No, I never have, to
Yeah.
be honest
feel
with
like-
you. Never, ever.
Probably just a weird
I do
Sam
remember it
Raimi
coming out.
licensing thing.
In the theaters, but never thought of seeing it.
Yeah.
And I,
Yeah, I doubt the TV version of Darkman's playing often.
no. Spinning again.
Superhero movie, 2008.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I
That's
actually
James.
really like this movie.
It should
Is
be
this the
good.
one with Drake Bell?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
This
Yeah,
is
and
a
I
good
think-
one. Leslie Nielsen's in it.
Leslie Nelson's in it. Mike
Uh,
Hero.
And I don't think I've ever seen
Kevin
that.
Hart is in it too, I think.
A lot of comedians.
Yeah.
It's,
From what I remember.
a comedy.
Yeah. All right, that was our discussion on Darkman from Sam Raimi, 1990. Next time on Cape Critiquers, we go into the comedy realm. We're going to be watching superhero movie from 2008 starring Drake Bell.
Bye.
All right, we'll see you for
Bye.
the next one.
Oh boy.
Take the fucking elephant.
Rick, this is Professor Xavier.
My crack pipe broke.